I didn't have a car, but I had the gym. Right. This is going to be one of those videos, one of those motivational videos, to kind of show you guys that you're already him. So act like it. Right. You don't need the materialistic items. You don't need the money, the cars, all those things to feel like you're that guy. You already are that guy. Right. You determine it. But before I get into, I'm going to get into a quick story so you guys can understand what I mean. But before I get into that quick story, I just want to say, make sure you book that one-on-one coaching call. If you're looking to get jacked and need a custom plan to get jacked, I'm the guy for that. Tap in with me, book a one-on-one coaching call. And yeah, let's get back to schedule programming. So back to schedule programming, to this story. So back in high school, you know what I mean? I didn't really care about driving that much. It wasn't really something that's serious because everybody was taking transit. Everybody was on transit. It was something that everybody was doing. It wasn't that deep. We were all in the same spot, right? And as we got older, from grades 10 to 12, as we're getting older, everybody's getting licenses. Everybody's starting to drive slowly but surely. And I noticed, I was starting to get left behind. I didn't after I graduated grade 12, everybody else had their cars, license, and I was beginning to feel like, oh man, I'm kind of getting left behind, because it was brought to my attention because, I was getting roasted. I would get roasted for this. Where I live, I guess having a car makes life a lot easier. I would get laughed at, I would get roasted, flamed, people were not taking me serious. When it was from other guys, or even with girls too, they will look at you and be like, you don't have a car? That's lame. If he doesn't drive, he's disqualified. You'll hear that from a lot of women, right? You start to hear all these things, and it doesn't help with the media kind of telling you, all these rappers like Megan Thee Stallion telling you ain't shit if you ain't this, that, and the third, right? And all these things start to add up, as a young man at the time, when I was straight out of high school and in my gap year, it was tough to listen to, a lot of people roasting you because you don't have a car, because you're taking transit everywhere, and it actually got to me. It actually made me very insecure at one point, right? And I got to a point where I was I was trying to get my license and stuff, right? I eventually got my learner's license, but that's not that's the license where you can drive, but you need to be need to be supervised. But eventually I was trying to get my actual road license where I could drive on my own, right? And I would take driving school and stuff, and I actually got scammed from some of these driving schools are some crazy scammers, bro. I got scammed a couple times, bro. Lost a lot of money trying to learn how to drive, just getting scammed, right? And that actually ruined my confidence even more, and I actually started to think, is there something wrong with me? Why am I not able to drive? Why do I keep failing this freaking test every freaking time? Why can't I just pass, right? And I started to compare myself to everybody else, right? And that's that fixed mindset, right? The fixed mindset, you're always comparing yourself to everybody else, where in reality, your success and your failures have nothing to do with everybody else. It's you versus you. I wasn't focused in my own lane, no pun intended. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't tunnel vision. I was focused on what everybody else was doing, because everybody else had vehicles, right? And it got to me. It made me feel like a loser. I'm not gonna lie. But I had the gym though. The gym was a constant. It was something that, even though I didn't have quite as much control as I wanted to over having a vehicle or driving, right? It was something I had control over, because the gym, I could control my body and shape it into the way I wanted it to look, right? I could literally become something better, something more that looks stronger, something that is actually stronger, right? I made myself better. I reconstructed myself in the gym. By the way, if you need help doing that, book that one-on-one coaching call, and I'm gonna get you right. You know what I'm saying? But in the gym, it was something that I actually had control over. For the first time in my life, I actually felt like I had control over my life, and that actually translated into other areas. For example, with this car situation, I came to the realization that, I can literally change my situation, right? I had to come to the conclusion that, no driving instructor is going to save me. No one's going to save me. I have to literally I have to just study this shit. I have to study, okay, where am I messing up on the driving test? Figure out where I'm going wrong. It was the exact same process with fitness. When I was learning my fitness journey, trying to put on muscle, I had to figure out, okay, why am I not building muscle? What are the type of foods I'm eating? Am I doing the right workouts? Am I training hard enough? Like, I had to do all these audits, right? And through making those adjustments in the gym, it was the exact same shit with driving. I literally just had to tweak those things. You know, it's the same principle. Find out find out what you're doing wrong, find out where you're fucking up, and literally apply that to the area you're trying to improve in your life. In my case, it was driving. I had to figure out, okay, where am I messing up? What are the next steps? What do I got to do? Right? And eventually, I did get my license, and I ended up buying. Oh my god, I can't even talk today. And I did end up buying a car eventually, right? But then I came to a realization eventually over time that, like, it was never about the car, right? It was never about the car, right? I let other people's perceptions of me cloud my judgment. You know, because I didn't realize that all this time I was already him. I was already that guy. It didn't matter about the car, because most of these people who had cars and stuff, like, they weren't walking to the gym in the snow. They were cuddled up in their warm blankets like a bunch of pussies, bro. I was out there putting the fucking work. That's something that they don't have on me, bro. Like, I was literally putting in work. All these guys were in their warm Christmas blankets and shit, with their little gingerbread cookies, getting fat as shit. Well, I was putting in work. I was putting in that work. I didn't slack, bro. Like, I was out here making moves. Didn't matter whether I had a car or not. I was putting in the action, right? I was improving myself in other areas of my life, because it was never about the car, because I was already that guy. I was already him, bro. And that's the mindset you gotta have. You're already that guy. It doesn't matter how much money you have, what kind of car you drive or whatever. Like, if you're already that guy, it'll come in due time. As long as you're putting in the work, all that stuff will come in due time. It's about the man you are. It's about the man you are to get to that point. And that's the message I'm trying to push today. It's like that quote from Spider-Man Homecoming, where Iron Man says to Spider-Man, he's like, yo, like, when Spider-Man says to Iron Man, he's like, yo, I'm nothing without the suit. You can't take away the suit. And then Iron Man's like, yo, if you're nothing without the suit, then you shouldn't have it, right? And that's the same thing with having a car. If you're nothing without the car, then you shouldn't have it, right? It was that same principle. Because you could lose your car then tomorrow, and then what? Are you still him? Can you really say you're still him? The point I'm trying to make is you have to build yourself up before the material items come into your life. The material items are just a byproduct of you building yourself up. They'll come in due time. It'll come in due time as long as you're putting in the work, right? And I also had to realize that the people that were roasting me for not having a vehicle, that was all they had going for them. So they would just project their insecurities on me and say, well, at least I have a car, but yet you're out of shape and you're overweight. But, oh, you have a car, but you work in a gas station. Oh, but you have a car. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that was what I had to realize, bro. That you're already him. You just gotta act like it, bro. As long as you're putting in the work, is you hustling, you in the gym, you're doing what you're supposed to do. Even if you don't got it all together like that yet, it don't matter, because it will come in due time. And that's what I had to realize, that I'm already him. Fuck the haters, bro. Fuck all of them. You're already him. If you like this message, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Send this to someone who needs to hear it. And remember, there's nothing lighting about playing small. Oh yeah, and don't forget to book that one-on-one coaching call. Let's get jacked. It's winter. Let's put in that work. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya.